I don't know about alarming or giving Greed the green light, but I'm still gonna keep up my hands off rallying cry to give it the black flag instead. And that's my one mention of this for now. How because as I previously affirmed, I'm gonna try and do this as little as possible to unless I had for educational purposes. With that out of the way, welcome to my gaming vlog for this month of April 2025. And there's a lot of developments that have happened even just this weekend, today even, and I'm still doing my best to wait for the dust to settle, and I'm not gonna act like I do know everything about the Switch 2 right now because I don't mean I'm still waiting for the dust to settle from everything and all that. But I will give that other videos and also address developments that I think are interesting, intriguing, or just kind of amusing. So let's get started. First, I might as well rip the band aid off first. I mean, not only did Minecraft actually set a new record for video game adaptation, grossing over $152 million as this weekend alone, but even more so, there are reports of people getting rowdy in the theater, whether it's small children who are acting kind of noisy, or people my age cracking in jokes at the screen. And says, "You're supposed to be the hero, Brian," and even more entertaining in my case, bits and pieces up to including the whole movie leaking online with unfinished visual effects, which somehow look actually a bit less horrifying and funnier than the final product. Which I am having some serious X-Men Wolverine flashbacks right about now towards me. And all the same, even though I still have no plans to see this movie theatrically, we can get tickets to Sinners as well as Thunderbolt soon. But I will likely be watching for Bad Movie Night whenever it comes on Max, in all likelihood. I mean, you know me. No matter what the material is, when we go between like a movie that's boring and one's a white hot trash fire, I always choose the latter. And oh yes, I would say that's a movie where Jennifer Coolidge tries to wine and dine a CGI villager is very much my kind of potential trash fire. It also turns out the same people who successfully got Grand Theft Auto 3 to run on Dreamcast, with that built on DCA 3, they're now turning their attention to its immediate successor, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which definitely shows the power of not only the modding community, but also how the Dreamcast is still thinking over 25 years since it first came out. They've got the first half hour of the game running at least, which includes like the first few missions. Ends after the game's inciting incident with Tommy arriving Vice City, having to recover the money and products that were stolen, and after their would-be business partners were killed by a raid by authorities. They've also got uh, the game running on the 3DS for GTA 3, which again, even though it's been a bit since the eShop went dark, I am glad that that's another console that's going to be kept alive by the modding community as well. Oh, I mean, since I still find it incredible how much tech has advanced in that advanced as well. Not just what people can do with it officially, but unofficially as well. Before I get too into what I'm playing, I only have one. My only question I have left for the next Switch is if it can run Crisis currently. And connected to what I talked about last month in regards to the closure of multiple studios, least of all Monolith, it turns out part of the rationale how behind the Nemesis system in the Middle Earth Shadow games was due to keeping players in their ecosystem longer, citing people who, after they completed hated the physical Batman Arkham games, would later have them swapped, and they'd be concerned that would be a recurring problem. Granted, given how I'm on the many people still playing the Arkham trilogy, the main one, that concern may have been unfounded, but it is kind of interesting to see how the business side of work kind of influence creative side. And real quick out of the way, I finally got the season pass for Arkham Knights. Now that's on sale, which includes all the remaining bat suits, but also other side stories. He's featuring the Nightwing, and Catwoman, and the Tim Drake version of Robin, Jason Todd's the Red Hood, and and the and what Catwoman is doing after the game's events. And let's just say I'm giving serious consideration to doing a video on the game's whole 10th anniversary, which at the time I enjoyed it, and I still do, and I'm glad a lot of respects the game has actually been kind of vindicated, especially in like recent live service disappointments. So with that in mind, let's get into what I'm currently playing and would like to play in the near future. Alright, new month is also means a new who already placed some plus titles on the Essential tier. No joke, they all dropped on April Fool's Day, so about a week ago, depending on when you see this. Yes, and the titles also include both the asymmetric horror title based on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Digimon on story Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory. So I was kind of hoping it would be a complete version of the latter, but on the whole, it's still a pretty decent game. Leaning really hard into cyberpunk aspects of the franchise, and as well as the post-cyberpunk aspects of the Digimon verse, and I still maintain the main thing I want out of this new one is for it to be good. I mean, not really out of the possibility it might not work, but when it's basically the ingredients have elements about Digimon Shin Megami Tensei, I'm at least keeping an eye on it. That's what Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. On top of Leatherface also making Corinthians Dead by Daylight, this is one of the horror IP that lends itself naturally to this kind of title where, depending on the role, you can be the victim and trying to escape from Leatherface and the family, or you could do what I did and play as the family, and in particular Leatherface, and hunt down the victims where they escape, which actually does a pretty good job of capturing what made in this movie's effective, especially the first couple ones. My personal favorite installment is the second one, and first for how many memorable scenes and characters it has, and just also the simplicity of the setup where there's no major underlying motivations behind Leatherface and his extended family. They're just a family of unconventional monsters that have become kind of pop culture fabric in the same way the classic movie monsters, there's the Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy have as well. And the big one with PS5, which I'm so glad was included, that they've been talking for a while, especially as like make sure to claim when I do get one. RoboCop Rogue City, a very good first-person shooter based on the cult classic science fiction action franchise, which is one that takes place between the second and third movies and even remixes elements from them. The first one's still the best, but I have a soft spot for the sequels, which I developed. I'm part of a cult following they have. Third definitely also best good territory, I would argue, and And the second, I actually liked it even when I was younger, how dark it was, man. And naturally, the writer on both of those was Frank Miller. Yes, the Frank Miller, and that was before he kind of lost it, and that's and just the same people also made like a Terminator game, which also has similar blueprints, and not only making everything as on merit, but also making what makes us visually what's interesting to people. Oh, I also like how they got little details, like how Murphy's like functioning like a walking humanoid tank, and you can get other weapons, but his iconic sidearm has unlimited rounds. Even like the user interface, distinctly different from playing as someone like, say, Master Chief or the Doomslayer. I also especially like the his social satire elements, especially in regards to the Torchheads gang and becoming a new supplier of a narcotic known as Nuke, and their leader Soot having something like a reverse mohawk where the middle of the part of his head is shaved and the other points stick up, kind of like Heihachi on Tekken. And and I am glad that they're working on the balancing monetization again for the eighth game, which is good because I really still want to play it. Yeah, but even I have my limits about how much I'm willing to pay for something. Something, if I'm being personal about it. I also played more of the Warriors game that I talked about a bit ago. In fact, I actually beat it. I mean, and let me tell you, even on the low difficulty settings, it's definitely not a cakewalk, especially when you're into the last act of the game, which you're basically playing on the movie's events, and very faithful adaptation, I would say, where you're it's definitely the movie was very much like something like a link between like the campier ones of the 70s and the more violent action ones of following the 80s. He's and the game definitely reflects that sentiment as well. And much like in the movie getting back at Luther for icing in the lead of the riffs and framing it for it is indeed satisfying. And yes, I even like how you can after doing that you unlock a Armies of the Night game within a game, which is basically Double Dragon. And while the movie and the most of the game were relatively grounded, and albeit sometimes tongue in cheek depiction of urban panic in the 70s, the Armies of the Night game actually has characters rising from their grave as ghosts in the final battle. And it's definitely a very much a game I would recommend, and I might consider doing like another video on it in more detail, and of course talking about movie in the near future. It just depends on our line of my other projects. Now, while I still wait for the fire stop burning in terms of my relations on the next console, I will talk about what I'm playing on the existing Switch, which I plan to hold on to for now. And that's for sentimental reasons. I'm still gonna need to transfer my files over to the new console. Okay, so first off, you can tell by my shirt and one of my posters I've angled myself in front of. I am this close to beating in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which was my favorite game of the last year. Imagine that. Yet another year, here one of my favorite game was a Zelda title. Oh, and even though I'll admit that Null's final form is giving me some grief, it also instantly told me that it's definitely like I thought it would be a game that encourages outside the box thinking. And like I said, who needs to hold a sword when your allies and echoes can hold it for you? You know what I mean? And it's definitely one that not just fighting the boss, but also navigating that last dungeon. That's one that definitely shows you can use everything you learned throughout the entire game to your advantage. And also, as the first canonical main installment to feature Zelda as a playable character, her and the not counting spin-off titles or the odious CDI games, is definitely one that lived up to the hype for me, and one that I've logged. Well, I just cracked 100 hours logged into it, so there's that. That's, I mean, so, oh, with that in mind, for the ones I do have or plan to get, at a $10 surcharge is more or less what I thought, man. I mean, I think I can swing that at whenever the time comes. Not gonna be today, though. In another one, as an example of ones I've finally procured and have been meaning to play more of, is Monster Hunter Rise, and in fact, it was also on sale with the Sunbreak expansion fairly recently. Hey, and this is one of the games I recommend to newcomers of the series or more casual fans such as I. To me, both this and World and now Wild's doing a better job of blending the experience for both new players, here's as well as people who have been playing ever since the franchise had a more niche presence in the US before becoming, I'd say, about as big as the likes of Resident Evil, Street Fighter 1, Capcom's IP. He and I actually would have to go against the tide here and say that Miyazaki's actually right. I may even consider talking about why, functionally, in many respects, X Monster Hunter is a place on a crisis in pop culture landscape. And another hot take I have is the short version is simple. I just think that Monster Hunter on the whole is a better designed game with more things you can do in it. Now let's carry on. Splatoon 3, even with the Final Fest has having concluded, I'm still playing in all the encores because of the some of the ones I missed out on because of connection problems or just overall busyness, but I'm doing the encore or time of day festival. I'm on Team Night. I mean, I'm trying to remember who won last time, but of course, I just really like Big Man here, like that Manta Hooray, and just how chill he is. That's one thing I would recommend everyone getting hot and heavy about the new system to just take it easy. Okay? Hey, to me, calling every single setback a crisis and getting huffy about every single aspect of the system, um, at least all its cost, to me, that sounds exhausting. I mean, and there's a reason why I took a new method of rather than adding fuel to a fire, I just chose not to mention it as much as possible. So, not giving them any publicity and bad publicity. I mean, I reaffirm that I personally do not plan on getting one until 2026, the earliest. Yes, as around or when Pokemon Generation 10 comes out, I would appreciate it. If people acknowledge that. Right. To wrap up, I think I will mention some of the legacy titles I'm playing. I mean, in the Classics library, it used to be the online library. There's some people who still use like virtual console terminology, even though that branding is not currently in use. Who's and I'm still I cleared like the Mushroom or Kanoko course in Mario Cross. I'm currently now on the Star course. Horse mean. So, like a 30-year-old puzzle game is keeping me plenty busy while I wait to see what's going to happen with the pre-orders, and the Super Nintendo Classics library. We have not one, not two, not even three, but four classic strategy titles in the historical simulation series from Koei before they merged with Tecmo to become Tecmo Koei or Koei Tecmo or however you want to call them. They are Moments of Three Kingdoms 4, Wall of Fire, New Horizons, and Nobunaga's as Ambition, and and as I continue to talk about them, there are indeed benefits to who playing strategy games that came out decades ago. Oh, and it's definitely a quite the experience, and to see how you can navigate your fiefdom and keep your empire going for as long as you can. And the the last title in this one is Lord of Darkness, and definitely very intriguing. Like how, I mean, that Super Soccer game, the how is okay, but it was never really my favorite title, and I understand how people feel about how its removal. Like vaulting content in general is seen as a highly controversial practice. I'm just glad that Coyote Acme has finally escaped a vault. Fingers crossed about Batgirl next. And but I don't see it as losing in a soccer game so much as gaining four of Koei's best legacy strategy titles. I mean, these are some of the easy ones I could see having like the SNES mouse functionality added in the future. I mean, and besides, these are also counter arguments I can add to the idea that every single entertainment game is crap. I mean, alongside, so like, say, Carmen Sandiego, who, what better way to learn about history and geography than from the people who were part of that history and geography, or through the lens of like a cunning and clever thief. I mean, anyway, that'll be all for now, and I'm gonna work on finishing Skeleton Crew next before Andor, where our second season starts this month. And I'll see you all again very soon. Take care, everyone.